Chosen one, you felt it before you understood it. A shift in the energy, a quiet disturbance in your spirit that refused to be ignored. Something about J never fully aligned, even when you tried to convince yourself otherwise. This is not coincidence, and it is not confusion. It is awakening. Because the truth has its own timing, and right now, it is rising to the surface whether anyone is ready or not. You are not here by accident. You are here because you are meant to see what others refuse to see, to hear what others silence, and to stand firm as what was hidden begins to unfold. Chosen one, the warning was never meant to scare you. It was meant to prepare you. Because when truth begins to reveal itself, it does not come gently. It shakes illusions, it disrupts comfort, and it forces clarity where there was once denial. J was never just a random presence in your life. There was a purpose behind the connection, but not the one you were led to believe. You sensed the inconsistency, the subtle misalignment between words and actions, the energy that felt right one moment and off the next. That was your discernment trying to speak, but you were still learning how to trust it. And now look at where you stand. Pieces are coming together. Patterns are becoming impossible to ignore. What once seemed like isolated incidents now form a clear picture. The truth about J is not something new. It is something that has been hidden in plain sight, waiting for the moment you were strong enough to face it without hesitation. Because not everyone is ready to see people as they truly are. Not everyone can handle the moment when the mask slips and the reality beneath is exposed. Chosen one, understand this deeply. People reveal themselves in layers, not all at once. And J has been revealing themselves the entire time, but only in fragments. Enough to keep you connected, but not enough to fully expose the truth. That is how confusion is maintained. That is how doubt is planted. You were meant to question yourself so you wouldn't question them. But that season is ending now. You are stepping into clarity, and clarity does not negotiate with illusion. It does not soften the truth to make it easier to accept. It shows you exactly what is there, without distortion, and what you are beginning to see about J may not match the version you held on to. That is the difficult part. Not the truth itself, but letting go of the idea you believed in, because you didn't just see J for who they were. You saw their potential. You saw what they could be, what they might become, what you hoped they truly were underneath everything. But potential is not reality, and hope is not evidence. And this is where many chosen ones get tested, the ability to release the illusion, even when it once felt real. The truth about J is surfacing now, because you are no longer the same person you were when they entered your life. You have grown. You have evolved. Your awareness has expanded beyond what it was before. And because of that, what you once tolerated now feels uncomfortable. What you once ignored now feels loud. What you once justified now feels undeniable. This is not a coincidence. This is alignment. Chosen one, there is a reason the warning is coming now. Because the truth is not just about exposing J. It is about protecting you. There are energies that enter your life not to build with you, but to distract you, delay you, and disconnect you from your higher path. And they don't always come in obvious forms. Sometimes they come as familiarity. Sometimes they come as comfort. Sometimes they come as something that almost feels right but never fully is. J was one of those tests. Not a punishment. Not a mistake. A test. A test of your discernment. A test of your boundaries. A test of your ability to choose truth over attachment. And now, the results are revealing themselves. You may start remembering moments you brushed aside. Conversations that didn't sit right. Actions that didn't match intentions. energy that felt draining instead of supportive. These memories are not returning randomly. They are resurfacing to show you what you missed, not so you can blame yourself, but so you can see clearly now. Because clarity requires honesty, and honesty requires courage. Chosen one, you are being asked to stand in that courage right now. To stop minimizing what you feel. To stop explaining away what you know deep down is not aligned. To stop holding onto something simply because it once mattered. Because not everything that enters your life is meant to stay. Some things come to teach. Some come to reveal. And some come to awaken you to your own power. J played their role, but their role is being exposed now because your role is shifting. You are no longer in a place where confusion can control you. You are no longer in a place where illusion can guide your decisions. You are stepping into a higher level of awareness, and with that awareness comes responsibility. The responsibility to see things as they are. The responsibility to act on what you see. The responsibility to choose yourself, even when it is difficult. Because here is the truth many avoid. Awakening is not always peaceful. Sometimes it feels like loss. Sometimes it feels like disappointment. Sometimes it feels like realizing that something you trusted was never what you thought it was. But that discomfort is not there to break you. It is there to free you. Chosen one, the truth about J is not here to hurt you. It is here to release you. Release you from confusion. Release you from doubt. Release you from something that was never fully aligned with your path. And once you fully accept that, everything begins to change. Your energy shifts. Your focus sharpens. Your intuition strengthens. You begin to move differently, speak differently, choose differently. Because you are no longer operating from illusion. You are operating from truth. And truth carries power. That is why not everyone embraces it. Because it requires letting go of comfort. It requires stepping away from what is familiar. It requires trusting yourself more than you trust what you see on the surface. But you are not like everyone else. You are chosen. And being chosen means you are called to a higher standard of awareness. You are called to see beyond appearances. You are called to recognize what others overlook. You are called to walk away when something no longer aligns, even if it once felt significant. The warning is clear now. The truth is emerging now. And your role is not to ignore it. Your role is to face it, fully and honestly, because the moment you do, you reclaim something powerful, your clarity, your energy, your direction. And once you reclaim that, nothing that was meant to distract you can hold you anymore. That is the shift that is happening. That is the awakening you are stepping into. And that is why the truth about J is finally coming out now, at this exact moment in your journey, when you are strong enough to see it, wise enough to understand it, and ready enough to act on it without hesitation. Because hesitation was never your true nature, it was something you learned in environments where your clarity was questioned. But now that hesitation is dissolving, you are remembering what it feels like to trust yourself without needing confirmation, without needing approval, without needing someone else to validate what your spirit already knows. Chosen one, this is where the separation begins, not just from J, but from the version of you that tolerated uncertainty as if it were normal. You are no longer that version. You are no longer the one who guesses clear signs, who overlooks inner warnings, who chooses peace on the surface over truth at the core. That version of you served a purpose, but it cannot follow you into where you are going next. Because where you are going requires precision. It requires awareness that is not clouded by emotional attachment. It requires strength that does not collapse under manipulation or inconsistency. And most importantly, it requires alignment with truth, no matter how uncomfortable that truth may be. J was a reflection, chosen one, not of your weakness, but of your openness. You gave space, you gave patience, you gave understanding. But what happens when those qualities are not met with the same level of sincerity? What happens when your light is met with distortion instead of clarity? That is when the lesson reveals itself. The truth about J is not just about them. It is about what you allowed, what you overlooked, and what you are no longer willing to accept moving forward. And this realization is powerful, because it shifts you from being affected to being aware. It shifts you from reacting to recognizing. It shifts you from questioning yourself to trusting yourself completely. Chosen one, there is a moment in every awakening where everything becomes undeniable, not because something new happened, but because your perception changed. The same actions, the same words, the same energy, yet suddenly you see it all differently. That is not confusion. That is clarity breaking through. And once you reach that point, there is no going back. You cannot unsee what has been revealed. You cannot unknow what your spirit has confirmed. You cannot return to the illusion once the truth has made itself known. That is why this moment feels intense. That is why it feels like everything is shifting at once. Because it is. The foundation you once stood on is being replaced with something stronger, something real, something aligned. And in that process, anything that was built on illusion must fall away. J is part of that release, not because they are entirely negative, not because they were entirely false, but because they were not fully aligned with who you are becoming. And partial alignment is not enough for where you are going. You are entering a space where things must be clear, direct, and honest. No more mixed signals, no more half-truths, no more energy that feels uncertain. You are stepping into a level where your environment reflects your clarity, not your confusion. And this is where many people struggle, because letting go is not always about losing something bad. It is about releasing something that was not fully right. That is a deeper challenge, because it requires discernment, not just reaction. It requires you to trust your inner knowing over external appearances. It requires you to choose long-term alignment over short-term comfort. Chosen one, this is your test being completed in real time, and the answer is not in what J does next. The answer is in what you choose next. Do you continue to hold on, hoping for change that has not been shown consistently? Or do you accept the truth as it is, without needing it to be different? That is where your power lies. Not in controlling the situation, not in changing the outcome, but in choosing your response based on truth, not attachment, because attachment can blur even the clearest vision. It can make you doubt what is obvious. It can make you stay where you have already outgrown. But you are moving beyond that now. You are seeing with clarity that is not influenced by fear of loss. And that clarity is guiding you towards something greater. Chosen one, understand this. When something is removed from your path, it is not always a loss. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is redirection. Sometimes it is the universe making space for something that is actually aligned with you. But you cannot receive what is aligned if you are still holding on to what is not. That is why this moment matters, because it is not just about seeing the truth. It is about acting on it. And action does not always mean confrontation. It does not always mean explanation. Sometimes action is silent. Sometimes it is a shift in energy. Sometimes it is a decision made internally that changes everything externally. You begin to pull your energy back. You stop investing where there is no return of authenticity. You stop explaining your worth to someone who cannot recognize it. You stop trying to fix something that was never yours to fix. And in that shift, something powerful happens. Your energy returns to you. Your focus returns to you. Your path becomes clear again. Because it was never about Jay blocking your journey. It was about you learning to see clearly enough to move forward without distraction. And now, that clarity is here. Chosen one. The truth has a way of simplifying everything. What once felt complicated becomes obvious. What once felt confusing becomes clear. What once felt uncertain becomes defined. And that simplicity is where your power grows. Because you are no longer wasting energy trying to understand what is inconsistent. You are no longer analyzing what does not align. You are no longer questioning what your intuition has already answered. You are simply moving forward, with awareness, with confidence, with purpose. And as you do, you will notice something. The emotional weight begins to lift. The mental noise begins to quiet. The constant questioning begins to fade. Because clarity brings peace. Not the kind of peace that comes from avoiding truth, but the kind that comes from embracing it fully. Chosen one, this is what you were being prepared for, not just to see the truth about Jay, but to step into a version of yourself that is no longer affected by illusion, a version that chooses alignment over attachment, a version that recognizes energy before words, a version that trusts inner knowing over external validation. This is your elevation. This is your awakening, and this is your turning point, because from this moment forward, you are not moving blindly. You are moving with intention. You are moving with awareness. You are moving with truth as your foundation. And nothing that is not aligned with that foundation can remain. That is why the truth is coming out now. That is why everything is being revealed now. Because you are ready now, ready to see, ready to understand, ready to act, and most importantly, ready to leave behind anything that was never meant to go with you into the next level of your journey. Because the next level of your journey demands a version of you that no longer negotiates with doubt, no longer entertains confusion, and no longer sacrifices truth for temporary comfort. This is where your transformation becomes undeniable, not just to others, but to yourself. You are no longer seeking clarity, you are embodying it. Chosen one. There comes a moment when everything within you becomes still, not because nothing is happening, but because everything has finally made sense. That is the moment you are stepping into now. The questions that once kept you up, the uncertainty that once weighed on your spirit, the constant analyzing of Jay and their intentions, it all begins to fade. Not because you forced it away, but because you no longer need to question what has already been revealed. You see it clearly now. And clarity does not argue. Clarity does not chase. Clarity does not beg for understanding. It simply recognizes and moves accordingly. Jay no longer holds the same space in your mind, not because you are trying to forget, but because you have finally understood. And understanding creates distance where confusion once created attachment. You are no longer emotionally entangled in something that lacks truth. You are no longer investing energy into something that cannot meet you where you stand. And that is your power returning. Chosen one. This is what it feels like to reclaim yourself. To stand in your own energy without interference, without distortion, without distraction. To know that you are not losing anything. You are gaining everything that was once blocked by misalignment, because every moment you spent questioning Jay was a moment your energy was divided. And now, that energy is coming back to you, stronger, clearer, more focused than ever before. You are no longer reacting, you are responding. You are no longer hoping, you are knowing. You are no longer waiting, You are moving, and in that movement your path begins to open in ways you could not see before. Opportunities, connections, clarity, direction. It all starts aligning, not because it just appeared, but because you are finally in a position to receive it without interference. Because truth creates alignment, and alignment creates momentum. Chosen one, understand this deeply as you move forward. This was never about Jay trying to destroy you. This was about you discovering that nothing outside of you has the power to disrupt your path once you are anchored in truth. Jay was simply part of the process, a chapter that revealed what needed to be seen, a presence that exposed what needed to be understood. And now that understanding is complete, there is nothing left to figure out. There is nothing left to chase. There is nothing left to hold on to. Only forward movement remains. And as you take that next step, you will feel it. A shift so real, so grounded, so certain, that there is no part of you that questions it anymore. That is your confirmation. Not from anyone else, not from anything external, but from within yourself. You have seen the truth. You have accepted the truth. And now you are moving in truth. Chosen one. This is where your power becomes undeniable, where your vision becomes clear, where your path becomes aligned with who you truly are. No more illusions, no more confusion, no more distractions. Only clarity, only purpose, only forward. And from this moment on, everything that enters your life will have to meet you at that level, or it will not remain.